um, and I'm going to make you the host.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I am super glad that this many people have joined us today for class. Um, Again, I still struggle with these on Zoom classes. So show me grace if I have issues. This is a learning curve that I still have not mastered quite yet. So I think probably the time I master Zoom calls and internet things is when we'll be back to normal. If I get picked up something like that, hopefully we'll have any issues. Yes, Chris mentioned that the chat box is available. He wants to hear recommendations of some future classes that you would like to see. If you also have any comments or questions while I am speaking in this class, feel free to type them in the chat box. I will stop periodically and check and see if there are any questions that people have typed in the chat box. And then again, if you have anything to add or questions, feel free just to chirp and unmute yourself. I think everybody's muted now. So you can just unmute yourself and talk away. Feel free to interrupt me at any point in the class today. So we are going to talk today about marketing. And I'm not going to lie, marketing is something that I do feel comfortable with marketing. I have lots of strategies. With real estate, there are so many things that you can do. And so as I was working on this presentation, I found myself thinking, why don't I do that? Or I used to do that and now I don't really do that so much. So hopefully, even if you are a seasoned agent, when we talk about some of these things, it might just jog your memory of some new techniques or kind of light a fire under your butt to get started with some different marketing techniques. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have a PowerPoint. I'm going to have that up most of the time and then kind of be talking in between slides. I have some videos to show you. So again, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and open that up. All right. So again, this is one of our Kindle classes, which are the classes kind of to jumpstart all aspects of real estate. And this one is going to focus on marketing. So with marketing, we first need to ask ourselves, what does marketing in real estate even mean? The definition of marketing is the process by which goods and services move from concept to customer. So that's kind of the Webster Dictionary version of marketing. When we think about it directed towards us as real estate agents, the goods and services that we are trying to get from concept to customer can be a couple different things. Today in this class, we're going to focus on two different things, basically. We are going to talk about marketing ourselves, which is kind of the biggest, in my opinion, struggle when it comes to real estate marketing is how we market ourselves personally to our customers. And then we're also going to talk about marketing our properties. So most specifically our listings, when we have a listing, how to market those things. The bulk of this is going to be about how to market ourselves, because most of those topics kind of translate when it comes to marketing properties. A lot of the things that we use to market ourselves, we can also use to market our properties. You can see down here at the bottom, I have taught a couple classes before, and I do love a, what is this word I'm trying to think of? A statement, like a family, a value statement. And so the bottom of every one of my slides says the same thing in this presentation. And that is to always lead with value. Be a contributing member of the market you serve. That is a theme that I put at the bottom of every slide because I think that is where we need to come from when we think about marketing ourselves and marketing our properties. Real estate agents kind of have a bad rap for, just needing things from people and only contacting people when we want something from them, or we want a referral, we want to list your house, we want to help you buy a house. We want. And my approach to marketing and my approach to real estate, and honestly my approach in life, is always to contribute first, lead with value, and the rest comes a lot easier. So I think when we look at our marketing approaches, we first need to understand that we need to be a member of the market that we serve, and we need to contribute and add value before we expect anything from anybody else. So again, you'll see that at the bottom of every slide that we have today. I do not know a ton about football. I'm not going to lie and say that I do, but I do know who this man is in the picture. I think most of us, even if we don't know a lot about football, we do know who this man is. Oh, whoops. Excuse me. I went too far. So this man, Tom Brady, I think he was just in the Super Bowl for the Bucks, a new team for him. So the reason I put this on here is because when we think about marketing ourselves, Tom Brady, and Chris, I want you to cover your ears for this part, because our brokerages and our agencies like Lantern can be a great tool when we market ourselves. I mean, we want to align ourselves with a great company. As agents, we want to be a part of a company that has a good reputation. We want to be a part of a company that is known in the community. We want to be a part of a company that aligns with our values and our goals. But Tom Brady is an example to me that it's not the agency, it is the agent. Tom Brady showed up and he took the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl. That's not to say that other members of that team were not huge contributions to getting there, but to me, Tom Brady represents that as agents, we are the ones that matter. We are the ones that matter to our clients. We are the ones that matter in the way that the community sees us, to our potential customers and clients. And so when we think about marketing, you have to treat yourself like you are the talent. Luckily, we have an awesome company with Lantern that all of us are proud to say we are Lantern agents. But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful in real estate, your agency and your brokerage can only take you so far. You have to have that internal drive, and you have to have that internal work ethic to get you to the place that you want your business to be. So again, Tom Brady to me embodies that. He is the one. When we think about the Super Bowl, we think about Tom Brady. And that's something that when we think about real estate, you really need to have that internal drive and desire to get you to the next place. And just like this presentation, we're going to cover lots and lots of techniques and tips, but at the end of the day, you have to be the one that decides these are things that could help me grow my business. These are things that could help me market myself in the community. These are things I'm going to do, I'm not going to do, but you have to do them. And I know that I probably need to put a mirror up right here because I am preaching to the choir with that one. But that's kind of how I'm looking at what we're going to talk about today, how to boost ourselves to make us be the best versions of ourselves. So we are going to focus on basically two types of marketing. And I know that these types of marketing, everyone has already done and is currently already doing. So we're going to talk about digital marketing, and we're going to talk about offline marketing. In 2021, most of the marketing that we think about is digital. Digital just means anything, the internet or social media or any of those platforms that we use to push ourselves or push our listings. Offline marketing, we think about, like old school tactics, and we're going to cover things old school or offline marketing tactics that work also. But first, we're going to talk about digital marketing. So these PowerPoint slides don't really make sense. They make sense to me for things for me to talk about. But if you are sitting there reading them, you're probably like, these 2 points don't really go together. The first thing I have on here is that past client testimonials are a great resource to include in your digital platforms and digital marketing. This could be past clients. It could be even if you are brand new to real estate and you do not have past clients, you could ask people that you have worked with in some professional manner. When I first started in real estate and had 0 sales, I asked a few people that I used to work with if they would write a little testimonial about how it was to work with me. So they did not mention, Sarah sold my house in 3 days, or Sarah found me the perfect house, but they said Sarah is great at communication. Sarah, make sure that you feel like you are being heard. They commented on things that they had observed in a working relationship with me. And anytime you can show people, show the world, show your clients, show your community, instead of tell them, it's always better to show them. So client testimonials are a great way to make that happen. I know it's a hard ask to ask people to sing your praises, or at least it is to me. It's uncomfortable to go to clients and say, I need you to write about what a great job I did in this transaction. That's tough for some people like me. You don't necessarily have to say it like that. You don't necessarily have to bring it up over and over again. I have found that clients a lot of times now ask if they can do anything for me at the end of a transaction. They'll say, can I leave you a review on Facebook? Can I leave you a review on Google? Can I write you a test? I mean, they ask me these things. So I think clients want to help us. And if we communicate that those things do help us, then they are quicker to agree to do them. So that is something that I suggest everyone doing. You can reach back out to past clients, but definitely future transactions. Keep in mind at the end of the transaction, just say, I'd love to get your experience on how it was to work with me. Could you write a couple of sentences? And do you mind if I used your first name? If I shared what you wrote, do you mind if I used your first name? You don't have to include their social security number and address and all those things. But of course, you want to ask your clients that before you share. Another piece of information that I think is valuable when it comes to digital marketing is only use the marketing platforms that you plan on fully investing in. So real estate in general, there are lots of things you can do, lots of rabbit holes you can go down when it comes to marketing and advertising. Social media wise, there are so many social media avenues, which we're going to cover on the next slide, but you do not have to use everything. I think it's better to be really good at a couple of things than mediocre at 5 or 10 things. So if you, think, I'm going to really commit to Facebook and I'm going to really commit to a blog. And those are the 2 things that I'm going to make sure I'm going to put my time, energy, effort. I'm going to make a calendar so I know what I'm posting, when I'm posting. That's what I'm going to do. That is much better than saying, you know, I have Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, a website, a blog, but I post a blog post once every 2 months. I post a Facebook once a week. I have a Pinterest, but I don't have anything pinned. I don't even know what Twitter is, but I have one. Like, if you are not going to fully invest and do something well, my opinion is to not do it. I'm sure that some people have different opinions on that, and that is perfectly fine. But when we think about digital marketing, you and any marketing, consistency is the key. And so we really need to be consistent with what we choose to do. So we just mentioned all of the I just cannot figure out this PowerPoint. It keeps going too fast. Sorry, just let me scoot back one slide. This is when I said give me grace. This is when I need grace, right here. All right, so digital marketing. Let me go to this slide number 4. So examples of digital marketing we have available to use, and most of these are absolutely free. So we have a personal website that we can use. You know, at Lantern, we don't have a platform where every agent has their own personal website, but if a personal website is important to you, you are more than welcome to spend money and create a website. In the 2021 where we live, you know, some agents don't feel like that is as important. They use other free platforms to market. But if a personal website is important to you, by all means, go that option or go that route. And there are tons of companies that you can use to host your website and design your website. Facebook obviously is the most popular and the most widespread used by realtors, in my opinion. Facebook is generally user friendly. We all know how to use Facebook, and you can have a business page that is separate from your personal page. So I think that is something lots of us use. Instagram is another tool, and I know I'm not going to talk a ton about some of these things because I know Jenna teaches a couple of classes on social media, but Instagram is a great tool to share pictures and to engage in your community. The good thing about Instagram and Twitter is you can really use hashtags to connect with your audience. So a hashtag is where you have that little pound sign and you can come up with different tags on your picture. So you could, you know, hashtag Concord, hashtag Concord Sellers Market, hashtag Concord is the best. You know, you can come up with different tags and people can search by those hashtags. So that's a good thing about Instagram and Twitter. Pinterest is also another social media platform that you can use as a realtor. You can create boards and pin boards, not only of original content, so that would be, you know, home pictures that you have or pictures you take, but you could also create boards, inspiration boards. So, you know, outdoor landscaping board or a bathroom, laundry room combo board. So there's all different boards that you could pin and people find those links and then you would be branded on that Pinterest. So that's another avenue that you could go down for marketing and social media. TikTok is the next one. And I'm sure some of you have heard of TikTok. If you have teenage children, I'm 1,000% sure you have heard of TikTok. I honestly was just introduced to TikTok not that long ago, but I was blown away at what realtors in particular are doing on TikTok to market themselves. So I want to show you a quick video. Basically, TikTok, if you are not familiar, is where you can upload videos or images, well, more videos, and you can set them to music or pre-recorded audio, and they're short little clips, but you can share them through text, you can share them on Facebook or Instagram, you can email them, and some of them are very, very funny, but realtors have really found a part of the market of TikTok where they are using it to connect with the people that they serve. So let me show you this clip that is a realtor TikTok. So that is just an example of one of the realtor TikToks that I have seen, and that's just kind of a parody of what people think versus what it's really like. The one about waking up at 5 a.m. to catch up on yesterday's work hit me on a personal level when I saw that one. I'm definitely guilty of that. But TikTok is a great tool that you could use to set yourself apart. You could make videos on anything. They can be funny, they can be informational. So you could make a video on how to show your buyer or seller where the water turn off in their home is, or how to switch a air filter, things like that. You could make any kinds of videos that you want on TikTok. That's an up and coming trend in real estate, and it's something that if you are creative and you like to be in front of people and kind of like to have fun, I think TikTok is a really great option when it comes to free. And again, all of these things are free to us. So as realtors, we spend money right and left. And so free resources really are, why don't we take advantage of things that are free to us? So Clubhouse, and this is another thing I do not know a ton about, but in my research, I found that there's a new social media platform called Clubhouse. It's basically like an online audio share platform. So you could host a Clubhouse topic on things that first-time home buyers need to know, and invite people from the community, invite your contacts that could tap in. It's kind of like a podcast. And you set the topic, you invite people to it, and it's more interactive than a podcast. But Clubhouse is another tool that I have seen some realtors use for marketing in the past few months. Canva, I know Jenna has a class on Canva. If you are not using Canva, you need to be using Canva for real estate especially, but I use Canva just personally, like for my kids stuff, and just I love organized things, and Canva is a great tool for that. So let me quickly show you Canva also. Real estate has some great tools, and Canva is free. You can have a paid version of Canva, but the free version honestly has any tools, in my opinion, that you need. So let me pull that up for you and show you what I'm talking about. The thing about is you can design things that are already programmed to fit certain platforms. So you say this is going to be a Facebook post, or this is going to be an Instagram story, or this is going to be a board. It already designs the templates for you based on what you're going to use it for. Well, my computer is being so slow. Now, you know what? We're going to pivot, and we're going to come back to Canva. to load. YouTube is probably my favorite way to market yourself as this is when I said at the beginning, I need a mirror to say all these things to myself. I have definitely lit a fire under my own butt when I put together this PowerPoint. But YouTube is such a great resource because you can, as a consumer or as a customer, you can type something in Google and YouTube videos will pop up. So an example that I want to show you of a way you could use YouTube to market. You could pick a neighborhood. Let's say you want to farm a neighborhood. You could pick that neighborhood and you can make a YouTube video about that neighborhood. I'm going to show you an example of one that I saw that is really good.
One of my favorite things about Old Trail is the people that live here. Our best friends live in Old Trail, and a lot of communities have that.
You get the feeling, and it's absolutely true, that your neighbors care about who you are and what you're doing. It's just such a sense of having community around you and having people around you. It's just really become, it's a neat place.
Well, one of the most exciting things about being in Old Trail and being one of the first homes here and families here is seeing the growth that we've experienced here. And, you know, now within walking distance, we have restaurants and bars and a gym, and we have a wonderful pool. You know, we have the clubhouse that you can go to if you're a golfer, or even if you just want to take your family to eat. There's a wonderful patio with beautiful scenery. Each year, there are more and more things at the additional grocery store. Harris Teeter is here. The town center has our gym, ACAC. We're able to enjoy great tapas and wine at the restaurants there, pizza.
It just sort of gradually became this community that was, I could walk out my back door and I could see people up and down the alleys both ways and know who they were, and
everything's right at our doorstep. And not to mention how close we are to 64. The amenities have really been nice and keep us from having to travel either to Waynesboro or Charlottesville all the time for the things we need on a daily basis. There are a lot of people with young kids. There's so many activities for the kids, whether you're going to the pool in the morning or just taking a walk through the woods, through all the trails, or maybe you want to take them up to the putting green, the playground. There, you know, everybody's outside. You see people running and walking their dogs, and there's also a lot of events that take place in Old Trail. You know, we have social clubs, we have our ladies' night out, and then we have clubs, cooking clubs.
well, we totally except for out west, which is really just us getting together in the common every Friday night for a few hours to just sort of unwind, and our kids play together and we talk and we get to know our neighbors. It's like the classic, in my mind, 50s thing that you do. You know, you light up your houses at Christmas, you have cookouts with your neighbors in the summer.
This really is a diverse neighborhood. You meet people here, the whole spectrum. We have small business owners, artisans, professors at UVA, administrators. It's a great place. I mean,
but I think also another aspect is the diversity of the population. In many ways, is reflected in the diversity of the architecture. This is not a cookie cutter neighborhood in terms of the architecture.
that was one of the things that sort of drew us here, is that not every house was the same. Every house had a unique aspect and it's a reflection of the people living there. And so we bought this lot. Mary and I decided, the best thing to do is just go and retain an architect and help us sort of design this craftsman home that we liked. The nice thing about it is we were able to bid and get some great builders that bid against it, and we found a great builder and built us a great house, and love it.
Old Trail is great because it is truly a community. People want to be together.
There's just so much going on here, and so if you're a newcomer, it's a great way. It's a great neighborhood to meet people.
so that's the YouTube video that in my mind is easy to do. Well, not technically easy. You would have to know what you're doing.
American history, energetic
Oh,
students,
hold on. Your casings. Let me get ready to here. Saying that you could pick a neighborhood. I'm think about Highland Creek. Highland Creek has a lot of those amenities. This was a neighborhood in Virginia, but they have the golf course, they have the pools, the clubs, kind of the different little community events and clubhouses. So you could make a neighborhood video, and when when a buyer is searching Highland Creek on Google, your YouTube video is going to come up. You put your information in it at the very end or branded at the bottom of each slide or each frame of the video. You've got your realtor information on there. And then also think about the people that live in that community. If I lived in a neighborhood and if I lived in Old Town Village, which was what we just saw, and someone made that video, I would share that on my personal Facebook page. I would say, look how awesome my neighborhood is. And every time that video would get shared or, mentioned online, your information is there. And this is just free. This is like free stuff. It's not saying that you own the neighborhood. Nest Realty did not own Old Town Village neighborhood on this YouTube clip. They created this video and then have put it on YouTube for other people to find and share. You could easily get people who live in the neighborhood to give little, like this one we saw, give little testimonials about what they like about the neighborhood. And I can just imagine how big of a reach something like that would get you as a realtor if you did that for a neighborhood. So that's something, again, I checked in my little brain of you need to start practicing what you're preaching, and what a great opportunity that would be to get business, especially if you are trying to farm a particular area, or if there is a neighborhood that you work in heavily or want to heavily work in. That would be such a great tool for you to do. And as fancy as iMovie and some of these things are on our computers that we have, it would be easy to put together a clip like that. Not easy for me necessarily, but for people who know of what they're doing, that would not be super difficult to do something like that. So I definitely would keep that in mind.
Hey, Sarah, this is Rick
Yes.
Rue. Hey, we were talking last week about putting other people's properties online and making sure we had permission before we
Yes.
did that. If the properties aren't listed, are we allowed to put them online, kind of like that video did?
That's a good question. I think as long as you are, scanning a neighborhood like that, there would not be an issue. It never hurts to reach out and get permission from people, in my opinion. So if I was going to make a video like that, I would, talk to the homeowners, or I would even maybe shoot the houses of the people that had agreed to give little testimonials and say, do you mind if I show the front of your house in this video? I honestly do not know if there would be legal issues with, showing the outside of someone's house on a video on YouTube like this. I know that if you simply ask permission, you would not run into any issues. So that would be a way to kind of get around it. But your question about if it would be allowed or legal, I honestly do not know. I can try to find the answer to that out, but right now I do not know about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have any questions? Let me get out of this PowerPoint real quick. Zoom. All right. Does anyone have any questions before we continue on? You can either say them out loud or type in the chat box. Okay, so somebody mentioned just watch Kim, and I never say her last name, so y'all know who I'm talking about, for all your TikTok needs. So it sounds like I have not seen her on TikTok, but I will definitely look her up. But that sounds like a good resource to check out. Does anyone else have any comments or questions?
Well, I have a comment.
Okay.
I don't know if it is because I am from another country. I've been here 12 years, and I'm always have issues with going into the media and do my business, create my pages, because I'm always wondering about liability. Like Taylor said, like if you're taking a video and you posted and there was somebody around in the street or there was a car that is not supposed to be there, always, always, always is in my mind that posting could be liable. And that's one of the reasons I retract myself so much from the media. Just a comment.
Right. Well, it is when we think about, like someone just mentioned, when we think about posting, especially other people's listings on our Facebook, which is perfectly fine to do if you have permission. And I like permission in writing. So if I want to advertise another agent's listing, I'm going to need their permission in writing to do so. You know, anytime if we are in doubt, my philosophy is to always err on the side of caution and get permission for something. So, you know, if you are driving, if you're making a video of downtown Mooresville, I'm in Mooresville. So if I want to make a video of downtown Mooresville, you know, the businesses, the streets, those things, that's perfectly fine. If I want to drive in a neighborhood and, you know, and I'm showing the amenities of the neighborhood, that is fine. If I want to zoom in on individual people's houses, personally, I'm going to ask if that is okay ask the homeowner before I were to do that and post it anywhere. So again, I think we need to err on the side of caution when it comes to getting permission for things. But generally, when it comes to things realtors share as far as listings, we definitely need to get the other listing agents' permission in writing before we were to share anything on our personal social media platforms.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep moving. I've got a few more slides in my PowerPoint. I think this class, it's not going to be till 12. I'll tell you that. I think it said 10 to 12. It's not going to be to 12, but we have lots more to cover. So I'm going to share my screen again, back to the PowerPoint. All right. So another example that I did not cover before I went to that YouTube video is this picture right here. Let me go back to full screen on my PowerPoint. Anytime we post on social media, we really want to post things that are going to engage our audience. So, you know, it's one thing to post. Here's an example. Here is an example of a realty company that said, you know, did you know our downtown welcome center has a state-of-the-art touchscreen that you can use to view all of our listings? This is a did you know about their real estate company. You could do a did you know about things in your town. So, you know, if there's a popular ice cream shop near you or ice cream store, you could go take a picture of the front. Again, we always want to get permission if possible and say, hey, I'm going to post this your storefront on my real estate website. Is that okay? And say, you know, did you know that Mooresville Creamery has 27 flavors of ice cream? Their most popular is the Superman flavor, or, you know, some little tidbits. So this is a good example of how you could focus in your advertising on social media to get more engagement. You could even then say, what's your favorite flavor? You know, ask a question. So you could have an ice cream shop. Did you know there are 27 flavors of ice cream? What's your favorite flavor of ice cream at the Mooresville Creamery? Or something like that. So anytime we can post things that engage our audience, I've seen lots of realtors post this or that images. So they'll have like a picture of a bathroom that looks this way, and they'll have a picture of a bathroom that looks completely different. And they'll say this or that. Which one do you prefer? Examples of those things are examples of ways that we could engage with our clients and customers on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. Instead of just posting stuff, we would hopefully get some interaction back. So just keep that in mind as you think about social media advertising and marketing. You want to get as much engagement as you can. That means the next time you post something, it's going to show up higher on the list than if you don't have engagement. If nobody liked or commented on your picture, you definitely want people to like and comment and share and do all those things so they continue to show up. So just keep that in mind. Now we talked about digital marketing, and now we're going to flip over to offline marketing. So offline marketing is basically the things, my PowerPoint sent me today. Offline marketing basically are the things that, you know, we've always been doing. Not we personally. I'm not honestly old enough to live in a life that I've been a realtor where the internet has not been prevalent. So I'm saying, when I say we've always been doing, I'm kind of including myself in that, but that's not really true for me. Offline marketing are things that, you know, tried and true methods that have nothing to do with the internet. So the most important thing I suggest to you is that everyone needs a 30-second pitch for themselves. And the pitch is for new leads, or if you're in the elevator and you have your name badge on and someone asks you, you know, about real estate, or ask you why you sell real estate. Why are you a realtor? Why did you want to do this? What makes you an expert? We all need to have something to say. This is very basic. You know, this is very offline marketing. But when someone knows that you're a realtor and they say, well, what made you want to be a realtor? Or, you know, what makes you different than all the other 10 realtors I know? You need to have something to say. This is something you can do in your free time. You know, come up with a mission statement, come up with a pitch, I call it in here. People are going to ask you that question. I'm sure many of you have been asked that question before. You know, well, what makes you different than all the other realtors? Or why'd you want to do real estate? Or what do you like about real estate? And your answer doesn't need to be, well, I don't know, or, well, it seemed like an easy thing to do. You know, you need to sell yourself. And that's something you need to practice, and you need to have an answer when people ask you those questions. So it's very basic, but having a pitch, in my opinion, is one of the most important tips for offline marketing. The second one I have on there, wear your name badge. So your name badge is such a powerful tool. My very first sale in real estate was from my name badge. My daughter was in daycare, and I would wear my name badge, you know, all day when I was at work or at the office. And when I would go pick her up from daycare, I would always still have my name badge on. And my very first sale was not my daughter's daycare teacher, but another teacher just in the building saw me one day come in wearing my name badge. And she approached me and said, you know, my husband and I are interested in buying a home. You know, we don't know where to start. Can you help us? And that poor lady did not know I had never sold a single thing in my life. She didn't know anything about me, but she knew I was a realtor because I had my, at the time, Keller Williams name badge on. And that is such a powerful tool. It is, you know, it's something that we don't even have to think about. When people see you and see that, they keep it in their brain. So they think, you know, well, Sarah's a realtor. So Sarah's a realtor. I could ask her a real estate question, or, you know, when they see somebody else talking about real estate, if they ask for a recommendation, they'll remember they saw me with my name badge. So that's something, if you are not wearing your name badge, do it. If you don't have a name badge, definitely order one. You can go to House of Magnets, and the Lantern name badges. There are articles on there where you can quickly type in your name and order a name badge from House of Magnets. But even if you are not doing anything real estate related, put your name badge on to go to the grocery store. Put your name badge on to go pick up your dog at the vet. The more people that see you are a realtor and know that, you know, you could help them with things, the better, in my opinion. So the next one, personal letters and notes, are probably my favorite way to market offline. I often write note cards to my clients. I write note cards to my sphere of influence. I write note cards to people who have sent me referrals. I love note cards, and I think that is such a powerful tool, especially in 2021, where, you know, everything's electronic. We get our bills electronic. We get, you know, copies of doctors' things electronically. And then everything that comes in the mailbox is either junk mail or solicitations for something. So there still is power, in my opinion, of a personal note, a personal letter that is mailed with a stamp and people open and they see your handwriting. That's something that I use a lot in my business. And I have found that my sphere of influence and clients and people who have referred people to me really appreciate. Community sponsorships are a good way to market offline. So that would be things like soccer teams, t-ball teams. You know, you could sponsor a t-ball team, sponsor a soccer team. You could pay to have your banner at a school. I know my daughter's school, you can, you know, pay to have a little banner up at the school. And you know, I don't know what that costs, but things like that to get your name out into the community are a great way to market yourself. Neighborhood events. So I saw a realtor friend on Facebook post that she works primarily in one market. I mean, in one neighborhood. She lives in the neighborhood. She does a lot of business in this neighborhood. It's in Huntersville. And she had a donut truck, you know, the food trucks that we see all the time. She had a donut truck come to the neighborhood one day last week for like an hour. And she paid for everybody who came to the donut truck. She paid for the donuts. So I don't know cost wise what that costed her. I don't know how many people came, but I do know that if I lived in that neighborhood and somebody bought me a donut and they were a realtor, I would remember it. I love donuts. So that is something that I would remember. That is a great example, you know, especially the neighborhood you live in. If you could do events to kind of brand yourself and market yourself in that neighborhood, people remember those things. They will remember you. They will remember that you were the one who, you know, had popsicles at the pool one day for all the kids. They will remember stuff like that. So I encourage you, if you do want to farm a neighborhood, if you do live in a neighborhood that you like to work in, to maybe incorporate some neighborhood events or give backs. So another example, which Lantern does a great job of this, give back events. So that would be like where we collect coats or at Christmas, collect toys for orphanages. You know, I've seen where people collect dog food and cat food for animal shelters. Anytime, kind of like my mission statement at the bottom, lead with value. So when you sponsor a give back event, it truly is not about, it's really not about who do you know that needs to buy or sell real estate. It truly is about giving back to that community and leading with value. So then when we lead with value, I believe that it comes back to us. And so give back events are a great way to do that and get your name out. Local partnerships are another great example. So, going to the ice cream shop, the diner, seeing if you could leave cards, put up flyers, however the businesses around you do things, but just making that relationship and seeing, can I leave some of my business cards out here, or asking questions like that. So anything you can do in your community, I think, is so powerful when it comes to offline marketing. And the last thing on this slide is, do you want to have a niche market? So personally, I have found, and this was not by choice, this was kind of by default, but I have found that my children have brought me a lot of business. And so my niche has kind of been families, and families that I have met through my children, whether that be preschool, daycare, soccer, just neighborhood events. But my children have been very helpful when it comes to getting clients. And so I have tended to always focus my marketing on family friendly things and things that are directed towards families with small children, because I am a family with small children. And so that has seemed to work really well for me. You could have different avenues that you could go down. Like, I was a teacher before I did real estate also. So, if you did something before you did real estate, you could kind of pick that rabbit hole to go down. If I wanted to, when I first started doing real estate, I could have decided to spoil teachers and adopt schools and take snacks and drinks to the break room and do teacher events. Like, I could have gone down that and made that my niche market. So just decide, is there something you want to specialize in? Is there something that your business is primarily made of? And if so, capitalize on it. Cater to what is working for you. Like I said, I didn't go down the rabbit hole of my children or families finding business that way, but it just happened. And so now I kind of own it, and do family friendly events. And, I'll talk a little bit later about some of the things that I personally do, but most of them revolve around family friendly activities, because that is the bulk of my business. So offline marketing also, no, that is a blank slide. No.
Sarah,
Also, when we
Sarah, I have
yes.
a question. Would you mind sharing your 30-second pitch with us?
My 30-second pitch? Oh, goodness. Yes, definitely. I should have done that to begin with. So if someone asked me what makes me the choice for real estate, or why should I pick you? Why do you know more about real estate than Joe Schmo on the street? I am always going to say, because I care about this community. I care about not only myself and my role in this community, but I care about everyone who lives here. I want to make sure that every family that lives in this community, lives in this neighborhood, lives in this area, wants to be here. I want to make sure that they thrive. I want to make sure that sellers, when they are selling their home, get every cent they possibly can out of it. I want to make sure that you don't have to worry about the things that I will worry about for you. When I am your realtor, I take the stress out of the situation. I have your back. I am team, whatever the last name is. Like I'm talking to somebody whose last name Romsberg, I say I am team Romsberg 100% of the time, 100% of the way. So I basically just let that person know, whoever I'm talking to, I have your back. I have the passion. I have the drive to make sure this transaction is successful for you, but also for my community and for myself and for my neighborhood. So when someone asks me that question, I don't think I did my exact pitch as normal, but I don't talk about everything I know. I don't say, well, I know the market more than anybody else in that you're going to meet. I know that the average price per square foot in Cabarrus County is 127. I know the average days on market in Cabarrus County is 6 days. Like I could spout off on all of those things, but I always personally try to make the person I'm talking to see the passion that I have. If someone asked me why I wanted to do real estate, I'm honest. I wanted to do real estate because I wanted to help people. I wanted to be a part of an exciting part in other people's lives. I also wanted to control my schedule. I wanted to be my own boss. I don't think that's wrong to tell other people. And so I'm very honest when people ask that question and just kind of answer and say, I want to be my own boss. I want to help other people. I want to make sure everyone I know can own a home, can build equity and build wealth, and doesn't have to stress about things that people who don't own their own home have to stress about. So that's kind of my answer. It changes a little bit, but I lead with passion and loyalty instead of numbers and knowledge, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this next slide about offline marketing are things that I personally do most of these things. The number one is make sure you have a referral program. If someone sends you a referral, no matter if that referral closes, if you ever talk to them, if they get you any business at all, if someone sends you a referral, make sure they are appreciated, make sure they are loved on, make sure they know that means something to you. I always send people a gift card. So if someone sends me a referral, and it could be as simple as, my friend texted me and saying, I gave your contact info to somebody I work with. Here's her name and number. Okay. I love that. And you are going to get a gift card. My friend is going to get a gift card because I want her to know I appreciate that. And that is how I run my business. So anytime somebody gives you a referral, again, whether it works or whether it doesn't work, love on them, send them something. And it doesn't have to be a $25 gift card. It could be a $5 Starbucks gift card, just a cup of coffee, but love on those people. Those people are going to build your business. You want people in your corner who are going to mention your name. And when you love on people and you make people feel appreciated, they're going to do it over and over again. So don't ever skip that. That's such a big piece of advice I can give you, is don't ever skip letting someone know how much you appreciate a referral. Don't ever skip the opportunity to love on somebody and praise them. People love to be praised. And so anytime you can praise someone for sending you a referral, please, 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 please do it. It will build your business. Another thing that I do is send out a personal newsletter. So I send out newsletters to my sphere of influence. I have I just typed in, this was like January of the first time I ever did a newsletter. So it was the first one that popped up. But I'm going to show it to you. Let's see. I think I am. No, that's not it. Let me find it. I do want to show you. It finally loaded. There's my newsletter. Okay, so again, this one is super old, but it was just the top of the list, the one that I got. I have a business partner, so her name's Rachel. There's a picture right here, but this is me and this is Rachel. So that's why you can kind of see two of us in this newsletter. This is a 11 by 17 newsletter. So it folds in half, and then I fold it up to mail it. But basically on a newsletter, and I still follow the same format. Again, this one is super old, but I still follow the same format. So on the front page, which this is the front page, I will put some important dates, some holidays, and then I do market statistic numbers by county. So these are the counties that I primarily work in. And these are the counties that I choose to highlight. I do Iredell, Mecklenburg, Cabarrus, Lincoln, Union, Rowan, and Catawba. So I get 3 points of data for each of those. And then these numbers change monthly. Again, this is very old, so don't look at these numbers and think, what? This is 2016. But you can get these numbers from Canopy. On Canopy, you can go to SAM reports, statistical analysis module reports, and get these numbers. That's where I get them. And so then on the back, so this is the front, this is the very back, I usually put a recipe, just something I find on the internet. And then down at the bottom, I have my contact info. Again, this is old. Then on the inside page, and again, these fold. So on the inside page, I just find a bunch of stuff. And a lot of this stuff I find from Pinterest or just Google. If I find something from someone's website, I will always cite the website. Like you can see this little money saving challenge. I cite the website. But it's just like tips, little tips for your home. Some things have to do about real estate. So like selling a home in the winter. Some things are just random, like this 52-week money saving challenge or house cleaning list. I just find random stuff. And then you can see in this one, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, I do community events or client appreciation events. So this was a save the date. Usually I have an Easter event, and this was just a little save the date for the Easter event that was coming up that year, kind of to give my clients the date. So this is a newsletter that I came up with. I designed the template, and again, I still use this. I just change things out month by month, but this is something I send to all of past clients, my sphere of influence. So really, I only send this out to about 100 people every month, but it is a labor of love. I mean, I could pay somebody to make these for me. I could pay somebody to mail these out for me. But A, I'm cheap. And B, I like the personal, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to do this and to mail it to people. I know some people probably don't open it. They throw it in the trash, but I like to think that maybe some people open it and actually read it and think of me every month. So a personal newsletter, in my experience, has worked wonders for my business. It keeps me on the forefront of people's minds. The next thing is client appreciation events, which I just talked about with the Easter event. So normally twice a year, at Easter and usually October, we have client appreciation events. And normally, we didn't last year because of COVID, but normally we have them at a park, and we have hamburgers and hot dogs, popcorn, cotton candy. The Easter bunny comes, like we have an Easter bunny suit. So the Easter bunny comes at Easter. We have an egg hunt. We have crafts and face painting. And basically we invite all of our past clients. So like I mentioned, most of my past clients are people with little kids. So that's why the Easter bunny and the egg hunt and the face painting work, because the people who are coming to my events have little children. Usually at these events, we have, don't know, between 40 and 50 people usually. But everyone has such a good time and it's free. It is honestly not that expensive for me and my business partner to put on. But families have a great time when they come, and it's a way that we also get to go and say, still love your house, and ask, just talk to them one. So we usually have an Easter event and a fall, like a October fall harvest event, and that's something that we personally do for our clients. Another thing that we do is drop by gifts. So again, if you can't tell by now, I like going down memory lane. I like driving by houses that I sold. I like staying in touch with my past clients. I like checking in to make sure they still love the house. And so drop by gifts, we usually do once a year. We'll pick a holiday or pick a season and physically take something by all of our clients and leave it on their step. So one year we did a pumpkin in October. We put brand, our branding on there, but we bought everybody a pumpkin. I think Aldi had the big pumpkins for like $2.29 a pumpkin. And so we were maybe dropping them off to 50 people's houses. So really it was not expensive. We did physically drive around and put them out at people's houses, but that was fun to Rachel and I. We like doing that. So one year we did a pumpkin. We have done a watermelon around 4th of July. One year we gave everyone a watermelon. This is another one we've done, a s'more basket. So we got a box of graham crackers, a box of Hershey bars, and a bag of marshmallows, and tied it in a little bag and put the s'more card and dropped it off. We have done a mum. Sometimes in the fall. One time in the fall, we did a mum, one of those little potted mums, and dropped off. So it is as fun for me as it is for my clients. But I will tell you that when you drop something off at somebody's house, put it on Facebook. We had so many people that took a picture of their pumpkin, or took a picture of their watermelon, or took a picture of their mum and put it on Facebook and said, my realtor just dropped this off for me, thanks, Sarah, and tagged me on Facebook. So it was not designed to get, a pat on the back on Facebook. That was not why we gave people gifts, but it turns around, and it is marketing, it is advertising, and it's also loving on the people who built your business. So those are just some things, to think about, of things you can do that are offline that may make people feel appreciated and grow your business through marketing. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. All right. And when we think about marketing for lead generation, we have talked about most of these things. We don't want to be a secret agent. Like I said, with the name badge, like I said, with social media, we want people to know that we are a real estate agent. We want people to know that we can help them. Not just help them with buying a house or selling a house, we can help them with new construction. There are so many people in the world who do not know, that we can represent someone with new construction, and that you should have your own agent when you are building a house through a builder. We have to educate people, and we have to let people know that. So don't be a secret agent. Make sure that everyone knows that you are a realtor. Don't be annoying. Don't be, start every conversation. Hey, do you know anyone who needs to buy, sell real estate? But make sure people know that that's our job. And also make sure people know we do this not just like part-time. Even if you are part-time, make sure people know that you are serious about this, that you are invested in this. Perception, like I wrote, perception is key with real estate. So if you are sharing on Facebook, on social media often, people see that. People understand that you are serious. If you post once a month, you know, they might not make that connection that this is your full-time job or this is something that you are serious about. So make sure people know that you are in real estate. This market, especially where we are, is very saturated with realtors. I think everyone you know probably knows 2 or 3 realtors. So you want to be the first name that comes to mind. You don't want to be the third name. You don't want to hear somebody say, you know, Sarah, yes, Sarah helped me buy my house. And that person say, oh yeah, I forgot that Sarah is a realtor. Oh my goodness, you do not want people to ever forget that you are in real estate. So that's your job, is to not let them forget. And again, do not be annoying, do not overkill or suffocate people with it, but make sure they know it, and make sure you come to mind when they think about real estate. Another good way to use marketing for lead generation is circle prospecting. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with circle prospecting, but that is about the only form of prospecting that I like. I am not one that's going to go knock on doors. I am not one that's going to cold call people, but I will call someone if I have a reason to call them. So let me briefly explain what circle prospecting is. That is when a home in a particular neighborhood has sold or gone under contract quickly. You, even if it's not your listing, can then look at the neighbors, look at the other houses in that neighborhood, get their information, and you can call them. When you call them, you could say, hello, I'm Sarah Romsberg with Lantern Realty. I'm sure you noticed that the house at 148 Pilgrim Circle just sold. I wanted to let you know that there were multiple offers on that property. It sold $5,000 over the list price, and there are lots of buyers who still want to be in this neighborhood. Have you thought about selling? So you are asking people if they have thought about selling their home, but you have a reason to call them. You are giving them information first. You have seen a house that sold. And again, once a house closed, you can see, you know, what it sold for, how many days it was on the market, all of those things. And so you can then call houses around that listing and give them the facts. Your neighbor's house sold $5,000 over list price after 1 day on the market. Clearly, buyers want to be in this neighborhood. Have you thought about selling? Now's a great time to sell. So circle prospecting is something, if you don't have a lot of business going on right now, you could definitely go down that road of circle prospecting. And it's very, very simple to do. Again, you're not claiming that you sold that house. You're not saying, hey, I sold your neighbor's house and now I want to sell yours. You're saying your neighbor's house just sold for blah, 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 blah. There are lots of buyers trying to get in this neighborhood. Have you thought about selling? And so it's a good way to make a connection with having a reason to call. Again, I'm not calling people if I don't have a reason, but if I have a reason, I don't mind calling people. Another way to market for lead generation on the buyer's end, and this one you have to be sneaky about, I put that in parentheses, is apartment complexes. So my sister lives in an apartment complex, and I, you know, I have gone over there at the pool in the summer and have passed out water bottles with koozies and cards that have my information on it. Are the people who own the apartment complex going to be happy that I am trying to get people to buy a house instead of continue to rent apartments? No, but I'm at the pool with my sister and I am being sneaky about it. So you know that everyone living in an apartment complex does not own their apartment. They are renting their apartment, especially right now with interest rates being as low as they are. Many people, if they have good credit and the means to do so, could buy for way cheaper, mortgage wise than they are renting. And so, you don't need to break rules and laws and things like that, but you could be sneaky with advertising to people who rent in apartment complexes. There are ways to put your name out there and make connections with that. Again, don't get yourself in trouble, but you could find, if you know someone who lives in an apartment or something like that, there are avenues where that is a pool of people who do not own a home, and that's an easy place to hopefully get someone who is ready to make the leap from renting to owning. All right. And then lastly, and again, I said we were going to talk about marketing ourselves and our listings. I put the listings at the end because many of the things that we are going to market our listings with, we are also marketing ourselves with. So I have touched on many of the things when it comes to marketing your listings with marketing ourselves. So my philosophy on life in general is, if I do not know how to do something to the best of the ability, I'm going to contract it out. When it comes to real estate and marketing my listings, I use a professional photographer. I use a professional measurer to measure the home. If there is anything, besides selling that house and marketing that house, I'm going to contract it out because I'm not a professional real estate photographer. And I know the pictures I take are not going to do justice to a house like a professional photographer. This is very subjective. Some people take their own pictures, and that is fine. I choose to contract that out. That's also some of my sales pitch when I meet with listings. I say, I'm going to use a professional photographer. I'm going to have the home professionally measured. And so when you are marketing your listings, it is your job to make your listing look as desirable as possible. And if you have the means to do that personally, I'm jealous. I wish I did. But if not, go to someone who does and contract out those services, is my opinion. I think you do spend some money when it comes to doing that, but in my experience, it is worth it because your home looks more desirable. In this market, in this market, a listing will sell pretty much no matter what the pictures look like, but that is not true always. And so, when we're thinking about competition with listings in markets past and markets to come, we need to make sure our listings shine bright. And so a way that we can do that is by having the best pictures, doing a virtual tour, videos, all of those things that make our listing look very desirable. A percentage I found was that 94% of buyers start their home search online. And so that means before they contact a realtor, they will start looking for homes that they might be interested with online. All of the digital marketing strategies you should be using when you have a listing. You should be posting on Instagram, Facebook, if you want to make a YouTube video, your personal website, everything that we've talked about to brand yourself. You should also be using those strategies. You should use those strategies when it comes to a listing that you have. And you should tell your sellers, this is kind of your value statement to your sellers. This is what I do to get your house in front of all the buyers that are going to see this home. So the last note I have on here is the more visible your listing is, obviously the more buyers you will attract. And so like everything else we've talked about, getting that listing out in front of people is the best thing you can do as a listing agent. That is going to attract the most buyers in, and the more buyers in, the better opportunity you will have to get an offer, a good offer, the best offer for your sellers. So you just need to get it out there in all of the online and offline marketing tools that we have talked about. Oh my, I have talked like a crazy person. So I wait for somebody to ask a question or have a comment, just something. So I will shut my mouth for a minute. Okay, I see some questions over here. Do you send text content? Do you use text content to prospects? Rich, I don't know that. I don't know what that question means. Do you use text content to prospects? I'll send you a message because I'm not sure exactly what you're asking on that one, but I can send you a message back to see what you are asking there. But does anybody have any questions or comments or things that they do that work that they have been successful with marketing? Nope. Well, every time I do a class, I'm like, it's gonna be over in an hour, and then here it is 11:23. So it was not an hour, but you know, that happens sometimes. I am not an expert on marketing at all, but I know that the things that we talked about today work, and you are what you are going to market. Just remember that you are the product. When we read the definition of marketing on that first slide, it was getting product to the people. You are the product. And that can make some people uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable, but you know, your primary job is to make people trust you, to know you, to respect you. And when they do those things, you know, it's going to be easy for the other things to happen afterwards. So you just market yourself. And then I have found that business comes after that. So
Hey,
let me
Sarah.
know if you have, yes.
This is Laura. I just want to add on to what you were saying. Great information today. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I will just kind of add on, and I am no expert at marketing either. However, even though it was a lot of great information, my encouragement is find one thing and work on that and see if that works for you for a certain amount of time. You know, whether it's I mean, any of that stuff that you shared today, you can't go wrong with it. However, if you know, I just went and try a little bit here and a little bit there. Don't spread yourself too thin. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is not spread yourself too thin. Find maybe 2 or 3 avenues and see if those work for your business for like 6 months, and see if you're getting a return on your investment and a return on your time, versus trying to do everything all at one time, and then you get yourself overwhelmed, and then you're not getting a return, and then you're thinking, then you throw your hands up and it's like, this isn't working. So so everything that you've presented today is 100% guaranteed, I feel like, on some type of return, but just take it one at a time, and let it be a stair step for you to build up to your goal and your marketing goal, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you, Laura. That is spot on, perfect advice. You can't do everything. You can't do everything. You can't be good at everything. And if you did everything we talked about today, you would just be a crazy person, and you would have no money probably, because you're just spending all your money on like stuff. So you definitely, like you said, need to pick a couple things and see what works for you. And if you know you're not a person who's going to handwrite notes to people, then don't try. You know, if you're not going to come up with authentic content, don't do it. Like I love loving on people. I love showing people they're appreciated. I love building people up. But if I didn't love those things, or that was not my personality, then I'm not going to write cutesy little notes to people. It's going to come off as inauthentic. So that is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I've only learned because I I've done that before. I've spread myself too. It's only by example that I have learned that. So I'm trying to scale it back and find one or two paths to pursue. So
That's awesome. Thank you. If anyone has any other questions that they think of, my email has it on the first slide. But you can find it in our database also. So if you want to shoot me an email or give me a call, or if you want copies of anything, I like my newsletter, I don't mind sharing that. I think when one person succeeds, we kind of all succeed in real estate. So I'm not one to keep things to myself. If you want a copy of anything that I've showed, just let me know and I will gladly send it over to you guys. But just definitely let me know if you have any questions. And I will be glad to help you in any way I can. All right. Well,
thank you so much. Thank you so much for the class.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope everybody has a good day and I will talk to everybody later. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.